morning, This Week in Landscaping, Monday, May 19th. And I'm starting with a photo my son took. He was trying to take pictures of birds. This is what he ended up with. He's 7, so give him grace. But this is actually, it turns out, a really good video or a picture of Bermuda lawn at my in-laws' house. And he has, I believe, Celebration Bermuda, which is a variant of Bermuda. As you can tell here, it's really doing well this time of year. It loves full sun. It's getting it. It's not been too hot. My father-in-law doesn't over-irrigate, so just proper irrigation can really have a full sun Bermuda yard doing well. When I say full sun, what I mean is 6 hours plus of sun. So now in the evening, you can see he's starting to get some evening shade when this picture was taken. But it is getting a bunch of sun this time of year. There's really 3 main types of grass that you should be looking for in yards. That would be Bermuda. There's variants of that. St. Augustine, which is the thicker bladed one that kind of crawls across the ground. Like a centipede. Some people call it centipede grass. It's not. There's another one of those, but that's what people call it. And then the third one being zoysia. Again, there's multiple types of each of these that you might see in Central Texas yards. But this week in landscaping, grass is doing really well. We might get some rain this week. If we get some rain in the next couple of weeks, grass is going to go crazy because all of these grasses are well suited to be in the 90s if they're getting the right amount of moisture. So please make sure your irrigation is on and working, which leads me to this next photo. This was in my neighborhood. This is an old tree, was cut down, but it's a good representation of what can happen to irrigation over time. People wonder why irrigation breaks or what's happening with it. One thing that happens is the ground moves, and it can move because of plants or trees like this one, or it can move just because ground soil expands and contracts based off of temperature and moisture, and moving these plastic parts that were in many cases put in 30 or 40 years ago can ultimately make them brittle and break. And so in this case, you can see that this, I don't actually think this one's broken. I can't tell. It might be broken at that seam right there, but it's been expanded slowly by this tree growing and the sidewalk not letting it move too far. I would be surprised, frankly, if this isn't broken. Or actually, I think you can see on the right-hand side there that there's 2. It looks like it's maybe been repaired already once. Ultimately, they're probably going to have to take this around the tree in order to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish here, or get this tree stump removed. So, irrigation, super important right now. We're not behind the 8 ball. You don't want to get behind the 8 ball. What I mean by that is your grass and plants will be completely fine this next 6 weeks even if it's really warm, as long as you're staying in front of the problem and getting them the proper water. It's as soon as they don't receive the proper water and they're really struggling that then you can't catch up. It's like your own body for exercise. If you drink plenty of water before, you can go pretty hard and sweat a lot and then recover well with water afterwards. But if you're not drinking water beforehand, you can get behind, and that can be pretty dangerous for yourself or for the plants. We're going into 3 Dr. Seuss plants is what I call them, to just look crazy. And you see them around town, and so they're fun. This is called a Musk Thistle or a nodding thistle. It's a weed and it's bad, but it does look cool. So this is like a weird plant. It looks like something that would be in a Dr. Seuss book. But these are not native. They're not eaten by wildlife, which means they spread pretty well, or maybe not well is the right word, but they spread a lot. They come up with a lot of seeds. So kill them if you can before they seed. Look at them, enjoy them because they're cool and a little pokey, but destroy them if you can. The second Dr. Seuss book or plant would be this Pride of Barbados. This is one of my favorites. It's also not native, but it is well adapted to this area, not invasive. I'm sure somebody might disagree with me and think we should only do native plants, but this is one of those really good ones. They bloom when it gets hot, like really hot is when they do their best. So this one's not even reached full peak because it's not hot enough yet. They're super resilient. They want full sun, don't need a ton of water. They bloom better if they get some water. They need a well-drained soil. So if you have an area in your yard that needs like you want people to notice, but it doesn't have a ton of water, or you don't want to maintain it super strongly, rigorously, this is a great plant, Prado Barbados. They can get like 6 to 8 feet tall. They die back entirely after a freeze, so you want to cut them basically to the ground, or at least to like 6 inches, which feels weird. Then they come back really strong. They also have really cool seed pods, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the future, but basically they explode, kind of like the bluebonnet seed pods, but these explode and can throw seeds like 20 feet, which is amazing. And then the third and final Dr. Seuss plant of the week is called a Ruellia, or a firecracker plant. These will also lay down like over an edge if you want them to, but they also do really well in summer, without with quite high temperatures, and so just a neat plant. Another fun thing about these is that hummingbirds love them, and so big hummingbird attracting plant. Last thing I'll say is it's going to be pretty windy this week. We have some chances of rain. I really hope we catch a couple of those showers. Getting a half inch or a full inch would be really, really great for the landscape right now. And good long term for the weather, because we would keep the moisture levels higher in the soil, and therefore the soil wouldn't be pushing off as much heat, which is good for the long term heat of the summer. So pray for rain if you do that kind of thing. But it's going to also be pretty windy this week. One thing we forget about in our landscapes is that when it's windy, it's like a blow dryer. We understand this intuitively when we have those kind of dirty, sketchy things in the bathroom that blow on our wet hands and in theory dry them off partially, and we understand it with a blow dryer. But we forget that wind also dries out the landscape. So the windier it is, it actually can pull moisture out of the landscape, and so wind actually makes the landscape drier. So keep that in mind as you see what's going on this week. It won't be super heavy winds, but they'll be a little bit windy, and just an interesting fact for you as we go ahead. So hope you have a wonderful week this week in landscaping. May 19th. Cheers.